Auburn fans have come to expect only the best in college football. The decade of the 80s was the most successful era in Auburn football history. Four SEC championships and 8 straight bowl games have focused the national spotlight on Jordan-Hare Stadium. The battle cry of War Eagle is recognized throughout the land and is associated with one of the most dominant teams in all of college football. The expectations were for more of the same in 1990. But in September, nothing could have prepared Auburn fans for the emotional roller coaster ride they would take for the next 3 months. They experienced a year of both heroics and heartache. But through it all, they witnessed the kind of courage and commitment that has become a trademark of Auburn teams in the Pat Dye era. In the season opener, all eyes focused on a redshirt freshman from Birmingham named Stan White. As quarterback of the defending conference champions, a tremendous responsibility had been placed on his young shoulders. There was no place for inexperience or indecision on his part. Tiger fans quickly found out that Stan White was the real thing. With the support of his veteran teammates, Stan White adjusted beautifully. His 4 touchdown strikes and 300 yards plus passing propelled the Tigers to a 38-17 victory over Cal State Fullerton. Against Ole Miss, the best way to move the ball was to hand it to James Joseph. He pounded the Rebels for 119 yards rushing. Stan White withstood the heat of his first SEC competition and calmly hit Greg Taylor with the go-ahead touchdown. But the Rebels, en route to their best season in years, did not surrender easily, twice driving to a first down deep in Auburn territory with a chance to win the game. But the Auburn defense, champions that they were, rose up and stopped the Rebel assault. With 24 seconds left, Dennis Wallace picked off a Rebel pass and returned it for a touchdown, punctuating an Auburn victory. The last-minute heroics provided a heart-stopping ending and set the stage for the kind of finishes Auburn fans would endure in the weeks to come. The early success of Stan White could be directly attributed to the poise and maturity of Auburn's offensive line. All SEC tackle Rob Selby and consensus All-America guard Ed King led this tight-knit group of unsung heroes.
For my position, I'm a pretty tall guy at 6'2", and to look across in front of me and see guys that shadows me, I mean, it's a great feeling. Plus with the experience and knowing what kind of people these guys are and their work habits and their ethics and things they believe in, just makes it that more special.
When Tennessee came to town September 29th, it was obvious this was prime time. Unfortunately, the Tigers never got their feet on the ground in the first half. Trailing 19-3 at the intermission, Coach Dye took it upon himself to stir things up.
It was a game where wasn't anything happening. I mean, we were not playing as well as we could play, and it looked to me like somebody had to make something happen. There wasn't anybody going to step forward, and I tried to do that myself. And I knew we could move the football, and I knew that with the kind of lead Tennessee had, they were going to be conservative, and I felt like we'd get the ball back and score in the third quarter and win it in the fourth quarter. I felt good after the ball game. I felt like I'd played as hard as I could play.
With 30 minutes to go, the battle had just begun. With 85,000 fans behind them, the Tigers began one of the most memorable comebacks in Auburn history. In the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, the Tigers were undaunted.
Fourth down from the 13. Goal to go. White throwing in the end zone. White catches. Complete. Touchdown, Auburn! Dale Overton! Overton made a sensational catch and fell into the end zone.
The play is called Victory Cross, and it calls for me to do a 20-yard comeback. And usually it's a timing route. You know, usually by the time I turn around, Stan has the ball there. But Tennessee was kind of playing that route and just sitting there. So I just tried to get him to jump inside of me. And when he did, I just jumped back around him and got in front of the ball.
Still behind by a touchdown, the Tigers fought the Volunteers and the clock. In the end, they would face another desperation fourth down.
Fourth down, 11 at the Tennessee 12. One setback. White's going to throw. Passes deflected. Passes. Auburn! Caught! Touchdown, Auburn! Touchdown, Auburn!
Actually, on that play, Tennessee came with the blitz. And I said to myself, if this guy plays me one-on-one, I know I can beat him inside. Actually, I got up under the defensive back and just grabbed it before he did, and I knew I was in the end zone. I just had to matter of just pulling it down before he knocked it out of my hand.
Almost miraculously, the score was tied at 26-all. Tennessee would have one more chance to walk away with a win, but this was destined to be Auburn's night.
Julian to hold the ball right midway between the hash marks. No angle for Burke. There's the snap. Ball is on the ground. Kick away. Kick is no good. He missed it. Hooking it left. Kick is no good.
Although they didn't win the game, they had not lost. These players had engineered the greatest comeback in Auburn history. They had learned an important lesson about what it means to be an Auburn Tiger.
I'm just going to tell you flat out, men, if you wear that blue jersey and you play for me, there ain't going to be no quit in you. We won't win every battle, individually or as a team maybe, but we ain't never going to quit.
On this night, Auburn fans never gave up, not even with the Tigers trailing 26-10 in the fourth quarter.
Our people, when we began to make the comeback, got involved, heavily involved in the ball game and had a tremendous impact, I think, on the football game. And I think that's part of the home field advantage you're going to have when you're playing at home. Had we been on the road, I think it would have been much more difficult to come back like we did.
In 1990, More than 560,000 Tiger fans made Jordan-Hare Stadium come alive on game days, filling it with the warm glow of Auburn pride.
That's the most exciting feeling in the world, to be in Jordan-Hare, and it's 85,000 and everyone's cheering you on. I think that's a motivation that can't even be explained. I think just playing there is something I'll never forget.
But this team would test the fortitude of even the most loyal Tiger fans throughout the year. The Tennessee Heartstopper was only the prelude to a series of miracle finishes. 1 week later, the Tigers trailed Louisiana Tech 14-13 with time running out. A desperation drive gave Jim Von Weil a chance to win the game with just 3 ticks left on the clock. Final score, Auburn 16, Louisiana Tech 14. At Mississippi State, the game appeared destined to end in a tie, but with 2:33 left, Darrell Crawford somehow blocked the Bulldogs' extra point to preserve a 17-16 win.
When you're on the sideline down there and you don't have time, I mean, I never let the thought of getting beat enter my mind, because if it ever enters my mind, then it's going to enter my thinking. You approach it from a positive standpoint the whole way, and then if it doesn't work, then you haven't beaten yourself by negative thinking.
This team proved the coaching theorem that every man contributes to the victory, as special teams heroics meant the difference in several contests. Block kicks were instrumental in victories at Ole Miss and Mississippi State. A 72-yard punt return by academic All-SEC performer Shane Wasden simply broke the Vanderbilt game wide open. This team, although inconsistent at times, had a penchant for the big play. It kept fans on the edge of their seats. The experts scratched their heads, wondering how good this team really was. They appeared to have gotten their answer on October 20th. Auburn was ranked number 5 in the nation, Florida State number 7. This was a confrontation with national championship implications. It more than measured up to the pregame hype. The Tigers drew first blood. Tony Richardson put Auburn up 7-0. But the explosive Seminoles responded with 17 unanswered points. When the fourth quarter began, the Tigers found themselves in familiar territory, down by 7 with 15 minutes to play. The Auburn seniors had never beaten Florida State. This time, their final chance, they would not be denied. Stacey Danley tied the score at 17-all, setting up another storybook finish. Another last-second victory.
Dickinson waits. There's the snap. The kick is away by Von Weil. The kick is good! It's good! It's good! Von Weil! It's good! 2 seconds 17. How about that kid from Akron, Ohio?
Jim Von Weil kicked a school record 17 field goals in 1990. But more important, never failed with the game on the line. His kicks accounted for 3 of Auburn's 8 victories and one of the most exciting ties in Auburn history. The Tigers' championship hopes for 1990, so high following the Florida State victory, came quickly crashing down to earth. Devastating losses to Florida and Southern Miss turned dreams of titles to thoughts of survival. With Georgia coming to town, the Tigers had their backs to the wall. Like a cornered cat, they came out with their claws extended. Dennis Wallace pounced on Georgia's first pass of the night, setting the tone for a Tiger runaway. Stacey Danley, in his final game at Jordan-Hare, led the ground attack with 88 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Greg Taylor, the Tigers' second all-time leading receiver, contributed his own brand of big play excitement. But the biggest factor in Auburn's 5th straight win over Georgia was a dominating performance by the Tiger defense. Its unrelenting effort throughout the 33-10 victory showed its true character. The leader of this unit was All-America defensive tackle and Lombardi Award finalist David Rocker. His inner strength and physical prowess was an intimidating combination. He thrived on the intensity of the battle on the front line.
What I like most about playing defensive tackle is that you're always in the battle of contact. And the great thing that I like most is playing the run. Usually pass rush tends, they can get so many blockers on you, but playing the run, that's when you get to display your own talents. And like I say, just being in the battle of contact, every play is something I really like a lot.
December 1st, the eyes of the nation focused on Legion Field for what has become a true American classic. Auburn, Alabama. More than a game. More than a happening. It's the climax of the autumn ritual that is football in the state of Alabama. None of these current Auburn players had ever lost to the Crimson Tide. They were well prepared for the intensity of the battle that was about to ensue. This would be a hard-hitting, gut-wrenching confrontation in true Auburn, Alabama tradition. The Tigers got on the board with a touchdown pass to Fred Baxter with 5 seconds left in the first half. But they trailed Alabama 10-7. If possible, both defenses turned up the heat in the second half. Neither offense would reach the end zone again. The Tigers gave every ounce of energy to the effort. But today, there would be no last-second miracles. For the first time in 5 years, it was Alabama's turn. But when the initial disappointment faded, the setback put the Tigers' accomplishments in perspective. Auburn's seniors had compiled an astonishing record of excellence. 3 SEC titles, 2 Sugar Bowl appearances, and 3 straight victories over the Crimson Tide. They had been a part of the greatest era in Auburn football history. The record they left would be a legacy to all who followed, a tradition to be upheld. Auburn people are proud people. Their heads may have been bloody, but they were unbowed. Auburn's topsy-turvy season concluded with its 9th consecutive bowl game, the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. The matchup with Indiana of the Big Ten proved to be one of the most exciting of the 1990 bowl season. Characteristically, the game concluded with yet another miracle finish by the Cardiac Tigers. As it did so often in the 1990 season, it all came down to one final play.
White calls his play, motion by Herbert Casey back toward the football. White's going to roll out on the bootlegs, got running room. White dives for the end zone. He's in! Touchdown, Auburn! Stan White on the naked bootleg.
The 27-23 victory, while ending the 1990 season, served also as a starting point for a renewed effort to reach the Tigers' ultimate goals. In 1991, Coach Pat Dye will begin his second decade on the Plains. He will have a nucleus of talent far superior to that he started with 10 years ago. Quarterback Stan White, who already has made his mark in the Auburn record book, will lead a revitalized offense. In addition, Herbert Casey, Pedro Cherry, Bob Meeks, Darrell Williams, Victor Hall, Fred Baxter, and Eddie Blake will also lead the Tiger offense. People like All-SEC defensive back Corey Barlow and sensational freshman linebacker James Willis will carry on the Tigers' tradition of great defense. The Auburn Tigers will enter the 1991 season with a foundation built on honest hard work and dedication, and with a renewed commitment to excellence, both on and off the field. The best is yet to come.